Her haters' biggest fear was looking like one of the best players in the W in the world tonight.
In the high-stakes realm of women's college basketball, there are moments when a single game turns into an epic narrative, a roller coaster of emotions, fierce competition, and the undeniable drama that makes sports unforgettable. Last night, the atmosphere was charged with intensity, as Angel Reese, a player whose on-court exploits have become almost mythic in recent times, demonstrated why she is one of the most polarizing figures in the game. Throughout the evening, Reese's performance swung between brilliance and controversy, leaving fans, analysts, and even her critics in a state of bewildered admiration. This isn't simply about statistics or raw talent. It's a story of passion, persona, and the relentless pursuit of excellence mixed with a flair for theatrics that could rival the best of reality TV drama. The game unfolded in multiple distinct phases, a rhythmic pattern of highs and lows that told its own story.
Turn this into a circus? A clown show. Absolutely.
At the onset, there was a period that can only be described as the good phase. During this time, Angel Reese appeared to be in perfect sync with the rhythm of the game. Every move, every pass, and every shot was executed with a precision that made it seem as though she had unlocked a hidden level in her repertoire. Dropping bucket after bucket, snatching rebounds with an almost predatory instinct, and displaying a court vision that could set even the most veteran coaches trembling with envy, Reese was the epitome of athletic prowess. Her performance, statistically impressive with 22 points, 21 rebounds, and a field goal percentage that defied logic, captured the imagination of fans who had long speculated about her Hall of Fame potential. Yet the night was far from a simple tale of unadulterated greatness. As the game progressed, a shift began to occur, a transformation in demeanor that turned the tide of public perception. Just as the narrative seemed set on a triumphant arc, Angel's behavior started to morph into something reminiscent of a classic wrestling heel. The transition was so dramatic that it was almost theatrical. One minute, she was the unstoppable force whose sheer talent made her a darling of the basketball world, and the next, she was adopting a swagger and attitude that clearly indicated she was prepared to play the villain. With a series of provocative gestures, biting remarks, and an overall performance that seemed more focused on inciting controversy than merely winning the game, she began taunting opposing fans with a ferocity that made it look as though she had a personal vendetta against every supporter of the rival team. In an ironic twist that only added fuel to the fire, when the opposing fans decided to respond with their own jeers and boos, Angel quickly shifted her narrative.
No class at all. Zero class. Class right out the window. And then had the nerve to speak about being a role model? No, I don't.
No longer was she the aggressive provocateur. Instead, she now assumed the role of a wounded victim, a persona that contrasted sharply with her earlier bravado. This sudden flip, reminiscent of an actor struggling to master a dual role, left many spectators questioning her authenticity. Could someone truly embody the persona of a fierce competitor one moment and a sensitive, underappreciated soul the next? Or was it all just part of a carefully constructed performance designed to keep the public talking? As the game's intensity escalated, so did the drama. In a subsequent segment that might well be described as one of her best performances from a purely basketball perspective, Angel Reese's game was a masterclass in athleticism. For a period, the ball simply seemed to obey her command. Her precise footwork, the accuracy of her passes, and the sheer force with which she dominated the boards were nothing short of mesmerizing. In those moments, it was as if the game itself was telling a story of redemption, of a player finally living up to the immense expectations placed upon her. The crowd watched in awe as she turned defense into offense in a matter of seconds, her every move resonating with the confidence of someone who has already etched her name among the elite. But, as is often the case with polarizing figures, the aftermath of that brilliant performance took an unexpected turn. Instead of basking in the glow of a well-deserved victory, Reese chose to grab the microphone and deliver a tirade that would have been better suited to a late-night talk show than a post-game press conference.
But Angel Reese, like I said, multiple phases. We have the good phase. Played a great game. We have the...
In her rant, she lamented the endless barrage of criticism she faces, how the weight of haters and the constant scrutiny of the media have turned her life into an uphill battle. It was a stark contradiction to the earlier moments when she had celebrated every basket and every rebound with unbridled joy. Here was a woman who, moments before, had been the powerhouse on the court, only to now proclaim that the world was unfairly stacked against her. During the game, as the tension reached a fever pitch, an interesting scene unfolded between Reese and her head coach. In a particularly memorable exchange, her coach's voice could be heard trying to calm her down, urging her to channel her focus and temper the intensity of her outbursts. This moment was emblematic of the broader struggle that Reese faces, not just on the court, but in the realm of public perception. It underscored the challenges inherent in balancing raw, unfiltered emotion with the disciplined poise required at the highest levels of competition. For many, it was a clear reminder that, while the drama and theatrics may garner attention, they can also detract from the purity of the sport. The interaction with the fans also deserves special mention. Throughout the game, there was a notable back and forth between Reese and a particularly vocal group of opposing supporters. At one point, as the tension in the arena mounted, she directed a series of biting remarks at them, her taunts laced with a mix of bravado and defiance. Trash talk, as any seasoned sports enthusiast will tell you, is a staple of competitive play, a way to inject extra fire into the contest. However, what made this instance stand out was the sheer intensity with which Reese executed her verbal jabs. It was as if she were daring anyone to challenge her, confident in the knowledge that her prowess on the court would ultimately silence the dissent. Yet, when the tide of boos and jeers from the opposing fans began to rise, a dramatic shift occurred.
Bad phase. Got in her coach's face over a challenge that they eventually lost, and she looked crazy just screaming at Noah Henry, blah, 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 blah.
Instead of doubling down on her earlier defiance, Reese suddenly adopted a tone of vulnerability. In a matter of seconds, she transitioned from being the unyielding provocateur to assuming the role of an aggrieved underdog. The rapid change in demeanor left many scratching their heads. Was this a strategic move to evoke sympathy, or was it an honest display of the toll that relentless criticism can take on even the most formidable athletes? This duality is at the heart of the debate surrounding Angel Reese's public persona. On one side, there are those who admire her for her unfiltered passion and unyielding commitment to being a larger-than-life figure on the court. They argue that her willingness to show both strength and vulnerability only adds layers to her character, making her a uniquely relatable and multifaceted figure in a world that often demands either stoicism or unbridled emotion, but rarely both. On the other hand, there are critics who contend that her behavior is nothing more than a carefully crafted performance, an endless cycle of theatrics designed to capture headlines, boost social media engagement, and, ultimately, ensure that she remains a constant topic of conversation long after the final buzzer sounds. While the debate rages on, one fact remains indisputable. Angel Reese is a force to be reckoned with on the basketball court. Her statistics speak for themselves: 22 points, 21 rebounds, and an efficiency that places her among the elite. In the midst of all the controversy, there was no denying the sheer impact of her performance. There were moments when it appeared that her talent transcended the theatrics, a time when the game itself seemed to be in awe of her ability to change the outcome with her sheer willpower and skill. In those moments, she was not a provocateur or a victim, but simply a brilliant athlete making history.
Games, I think this is her best professional game. And I came on here getting ready to prepare for this video.
Adding another layer of irony to the evening was the way in which Angel's behavior contrasted with that of other prominent figures in the game. Imagine if a peer, someone like Caitlyn Clark, Asia Wilson, or Breanna Stewart, had responded with a similar post-game rant, simultaneously trash-talking fans while lamenting the pressures of life. The reaction from the public would likely have been entirely different. For many, Reese's actions were emblematic of a larger issue: the difficulty of straddling the line between being a fierce competitor and maintaining a sense of humility and consistency in one's public persona. Her actions, whether interpreted as genuine or as a calculated performance, have sparked discussions about what it truly means to be a role model in the modern era of sports. It is worth noting that the world of sports thrives on character, on personalities that are larger than life. Fans are drawn not only to moments of brilliance on the court, but also to the narratives that surround these athletes. The drama, the controversies, and the bold statements all contribute to an ever-evolving story that keeps viewers coming back for more. In this context, Angel Reese's antics can be seen as both a blessing and a curse. On one hand, they bring excitement, they provoke conversation, and they add a layer of unpredictability to every game she plays. On the other hand, the constant oscillation between extremes, between celebrating her talent and playing the victim, risks alienating those who long for consistency and focus on the pure sport.